Hello and welcome to what's going to be an exciting session here. Hey, my name is Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter. You know me. You connected with me because you said, hey, I want to really figure out what my prospecting process really is all about. Well, we're going to start this webinar here in just a bit, but because you're online right now, I want to kind of tease you with a couple of really kind of bonus things. How's that sound? You know, one of the things we have to look at when we look at our prospecting process is we really have to look at not only is it what we're selling and how we're selling, but why we're selling. And it really comes down to the outcome that you want to provide your customer with. Hey, I'm going to be sharing with you some insights and ideas from my book, High Profit Prospecting. I don't happen to have a copy of it right here in front of me. But anyway, I'm going to be sharing with you some insights, but I'm going to be sharing with you a lot of new learning. I literally just came off the road just hours ago after being gone for 10 days, 4 different cities, multiple programs. And it's continuously hits me as to why and how people are sitting there saying, hey, wow, I can't believe why I can't prospect better. And that's why I'm doing this program. This program is a one-off program. I've never done something like this before, and I probably won't be doing something again like this. And the only reason is because it's just so difficult for me to get the time and effort to put it together. But here's what it is. I'm going to be throwing everything at you here. And I've got a really cool deal. So you got to stick to the end because I'm going to be answering the 4 questions that I said in kind of the sign-up page. But I got a really cool deal for you at the end. So, hey, stick to the end. I've got a cup of coffee. It is straight up top of the hour. Let's get going. My name is Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter. Yes, Sales Hunter. Hunter is my real last name. People always ask me, well, you were a born sales hunter. So no, I was not a born sales hunter by any means. I had to really educate myself in the process. And what I'm sharing with you are really some of those ideas. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how do you really, like I said, rebuild your prospecting process. I don't want you to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Do not throw it out. Now, here's a couple things. Here's a couple big pieces I want to share with you. I'm going to share with you all this information. We are going to record this session, so you'll get a link to it, okay? But here's the other deal. There's a really cool deal at the end, and I got to have you stay tuned to it, okay? Please stay to it. And also, when we get to the end, you're going to see something special. And we got a lot of people in my coaching program. We have over 500 people on this event right now, over 500 people on this event. A lot of you are in my coaching program. Hey, really cool. I'm glad you joined me as we kind of open up everything. But I got a special deal for those of you in my coaching program. So again, stick around to the end. Hey, what I'm talking about is a lot of the stuff from my book, High Profit Prospecting. I am excited about being able to prospect. Why? Because prospecting is where it all starts. I don't have anything to close unless I have something to prospect. You know, think about that. People say, gee, Mark, I'm not closing enough deals. And all I have to do is look back upstream and I say, well, maybe maybe I wasn't prospecting. But here's the deal. Many of you are spending a tremendous amount of time prospecting, but it's just not the right prospecting. Now, all my content, all my ideas, I get to work with hundreds and hundreds of I have worked with so many different companies. It's unbelievable. This is just a smattering, a few of the companies that I've had a chance to work with. Now, like I said, this is rebuilding a process. There are 4 questions that we're going to get into, and I'm not going to waste. I don't want to waste your time because your greatest asset is your time. Now, I want you to look at this from a couple different perspectives. One, perspective of this webinar. I'm going to move very, very fast through this. Okay, but and I'm doing that for that very potential. But I also want you to think about this as we think about your prospecting process. Your most valuable asset is not what you sell. It's not your prospects. It's not your customers. It is your own time. So my whole focus is how do we create a prospecting plan that is as tight as possible for you? Because it's got to be able to use your time efficiently. Now, there's a couple of other rules. I don't want to say rules, but really major pieces. Before I jump into these 4 questions that I want to share with you, and that is when we prospect with integrity, we will get customers who have integrity. This is huge. I don't believe in some of these slimy methods of prospecting. I don't believe in any of that sort of stuff. That drives me nuts. What I want to do is I want to prospect with the utmost level of integrity. Because when I prospect with integrity, I will get better customers. And you know what? Those better customers will stay with me longer and they will become raving fans of mine. Selling with integrity is not a concept. It's not an idea. It is a lifestyle. And I can't stress that enough. So again, I'm not going to share with you anything. And everything I do, and those of you who know me, as probably many of you do know me, you know that that's not my style. And again, I'm not going to share that with you. That's why I firmly believe, and that's why I've been invited into so many of the Fortune 100 companies all over the world, because they have to do it. They have to do everything with a level of integrity, high integrity. Now, think about this. With each person I meet, I want to earn the right, the privilege, honor, and respect to be able to meet with that person again. You see, that's the other foundation when it comes to prospecting. You know, there are days, and there are days even in my own life today when, yes, I do prospect. I still prospect. Yes, I do. And I love it because I can't tell you to do something if I'm not doing it myself. And there are days that it just doesn't go that well for me. But you know what? I still want to earn the right, the privilege, honor, and respect to be able to meet with that person again. That's cool. To me, that jazzes me. To me, that's the foundation of prospecting with integrity. Okay, let's kind of jump in. Let's unlock answers to those 4 questions. Yes, I'm drinking. I really shouldn't be. I don't have much of a voice, but I'm drinking coffee because I'll tell you what, for the last 10 days, I've been on the road and sleep deprivation is there, but I'm excited. Hey, question number 1, here it is. There it is right there. See it is? Why is my prospecting process not working? Why is it not working? Okay, do not blame your product. Do not blame your product. So many salespeople say, well, if I only was in this division, if I only had these products, my prospecting would be more effective. Do not, what you sell has nothing to do with the effectiveness of your process. Nothing. You see, there are 2 pieces that are going to make your prospecting process be effective. And the first one is you. It's your mindset. This is why I started off with those first 2 slides I talked about, because it really is your mindset. It really is interesting. I've watched salespeople use the exact same process, and it's amazing. They get different results. Now, why do they get different results? And virtually the exact same profile of prospects, the exact same profile of territory, the exact same everything, but they get different results. Now, why is that? Why that is because of one simple thing. It's because of you. It's your mindset. I want you to, first of all, I want you to take a piece of paper and I want you to write down what are all the outcomes you help your customers achieve. Don't get caught up in the benefits. And there's a difference between benefits and outcomes. I firmly believe benefit is if I'm selling you a car, I kind of feel like the benefit is, wow, it's going to make me feel good. Okay, it's going to make me feel good. The outcome is it's going to afford me the ability to have a different type of lifestyle because I'm going to be able to take these types of trips. I'm going to be able to do this. I'm going to be able to do that. Da, da, da. You see, outcome, I think, is the bigger picture. What I want you to do is I want you to write down all of the outcomes. And I want you to keep those handy with you because I have to do this. I might be talking to somebody and I was trying to close a deal the other day. I was trying to close a really good deal. And I didn't get it. I did not get the deal. And I was a little bit bummed. I don't like not getting deals. I thought this was a good prospect. And I had to go back and look at that list of all the outcomes I help people with. And I go, yeah, that's huge. That's great. That's spot on. Now, it's you. And what is your mindset? And we're going to talk some more about you, but let's get into the second piece. We've got to look at your process. Now, as you look at your process, one of the things that we have to understand is that it is much more complex out there, whether you're in B2B or B2C than it's ever been before. And I can't allow one prospecting process to drive my whole business. No, you're going to have 4 to 5 different prospecting processes, and this is absolutely essential. Now, here's the reason we've resisted this. Well, we want to have this one big process because we've all been about having this wide funnel. It's no. I've got to have individual processes. I've got to divide this down. Now, as I look at this, the first thing I want to do to determine what is the different processes, I want you to look at your customers. Who are the types of customers that you've had the privilege of serving? And what are their demographics? What are their psychographics? What are their sociographics? What are the businesses they're in? What are the outcomes they achieve? How do the decision make? All of those individual pieces. And what you do is you begin to bucketize those pieces. Now, this is really essential because what it does is it's going to tell you the frequency and the type of message. Because here's what happens. You may have some prospects that you have to educate as to what it is that you do. You have other prospects that you may be just converting, you see. And so my messaging has got to be dramatically different. But when I simply throw them into this big, fat, wide funnel, it doesn't work. So here's the homework from this question. I want you to write down all of the different types of customers and begin trying to put them into buckets, okay? So now what you've done is you've created this whole list of outcomes to really help you and your mindset. And then I want you to create this whole list of who your customers are. Now, see, here's the whole thing. As I prospect, I also have to understand that what I'm doing is I'm helping you achieve a different outcome. I'm helping you achieve a different outcome. I'm helping you achieve, but you probably didn't think about the outcome. You probably didn't think about it. Let me give you an example here. And let's just use an airplane. Let's just use a very simple airplane. You fly coach, okay? You fly coach. Wow, okay, coach. And you walk past those first class seats and you go, wow, those are cool seats. The first time you get a flight in those first class seats, you are never going back to coach. You see, what happened was now you got sold on the outcome. You got sold on, wow, that's really cool. You got sold on the benefit of having a more comfortable seat. But then when you arrive at your destination and you're locked in and you had a chance to prepare for your meeting and all this sort of stuff and see the outcome becomes better because, you see, so many times what happens is we got to think downstream. You see, one of the things that you got to think about when we look at why is my prospecting process not effective? I got to look at the long game. Look at the long game of your process. Look at the long game of the relationship with your customer. You see, too many times what happens is people sit there and they try to play the one-off game. I want to just try to close you. And many of you on this call, many of you on this event here today may be saying, hey, this is just very, very short sale, quick sale. But it's never a short, quick sale. You see, I almost hate the term closing. I don't like the term closing. I want to say it's opening. I'm opening a relationship. When I close a sale, I open a relationship. Now, I'm going to come back. I'm going to tie these all together. Like I said, I got some really cool stuff for you at the end. So hang in there. Let's get to the second question. Second question. Well, let me read that. Why do so many leads not go anywhere? Why do so many leads go anywhere? Well, you have to understand is how do you qualify? How do you qualify? There's a real problem out there that so many people believe any lead out there is of equal value. You know, we've been taught never walk away from a lead, never walk away from a prospect, stay engaged, stay engaged. And I say, no, that's wrong. And let's look at one very simple piece right here, okay? There's inbound and there's outbound, okay? Now, I don't care who you are. I don't care what you sell. You may be the biggest solopreneur or the smallest solopreneur out there just starting, or you may be with a big company. There are going to be inbound leads that are going to come to you. Inbound leads, people who contact you, they have depreciating value. You cannot reach out to them fast enough. You can't reach out to them fast enough. And then there's outbound leads, which have appreciating value. Now, stop and think about this for a moment. See, this comes back to this whole thing that I've got to have different processes. Now, one of the biggest things that people have a problem with is they say, well, I get this inbound lead and I don't want to follow up too quickly because I look desperate. No, you need to follow up absolutely fast. You see, the reason some leads and prospects don't go anywhere is because you didn't follow up with them fast enough. Inbound leads go cold very, very quickly. People say, I don't want to be cold calling. Well, guess what? Jump on your inbound leads. I'm going to tell you a quick story. I'm sitting in an airport. Gee, that's unusual. I'm on flights all the time. And an inbound lead came in to my computer. I'm copied on all the stuff that comes in off my website, goes to my assistant, came to me. And I'm sitting there and I immediately picked up the phone and I called the gentleman. And he was shocked because he had no more just completed the form. And he says, wow. And he says, wow, I wasn't expecting to hear back from somebody in your office. I certainly wasn't expecting to hear back from you for several days. And boom, you reached out to me like right away. I said, and I kidded with him. I said, well, I did write the book, High Profit Prospect. And he said, yeah, you sure did. And it was interesting, within that very quick 5-minute phone call, we virtually closed the sale. And that's going to set up to the next question there, but I don't want to run to that right now. You see, you've really got to sit there and say, what is my inbound marketing plan? And what is my outbound marketing plan? And they are different. I'm all in favor of doing marketing to create inbound stuff. I'm all in favor. But from a prospecting standpoint, too many salespeople get hung up. They say, well, I'm just going to send out some more emails. I'm just going to put some more stuff out on social media. I'm going to spend some more time on LinkedIn. Okay, that may generate inbound marketing, but you'll probably starve to death along the way. You see, outbound marketing, I've got to be jumping in there. But remember, outbound is about appreciating value. And you've got to repeat. Now, let's come back and let's tie another bow around this whole inbound marketing piece. One of the pieces that drives me nuts is when people get hung up on the shiny object. Let me share with you. This is the single biggest mistake that people make. And I don't care who you are. You probably have, either if you work for a company or yourself, you probably have something on your website. In fact, we won't even say your website. We might say it's LinkedIn. Okay. And I'll go and use both examples. Okay. So you may be a real solopreneur and you really don't have much of a website, but you got LinkedIn. So what you do is you have somebody who looks at your profile and on LinkedIn. So you think, wow, that's a lead. That's a prospect. That's a lead. That's a lead. And you jump all over them And the same thing that you may have a website where somebody can download something or sign up for something. Oh, wow, that's a lead. That's a lead. And you get all excited about it. All you're doing is chasing the shiny object. That's all you're doing is chasing the shiny object. Somebody who responds to something, I can't sit there and say is a prospect until I have qualified them. Don't sit there. Remember up front when I said time is the most critical asset. Time is your most critical asset. You see, what happens is we wind up with that wide funnel. Remember that slide with the wide funnel? We wind up with that wide funnel because what's happened is you've dumped so much stuff in there. But the problem with a wide funnel is I can't find anything. I cannot find anything. And as a result of not being able to find anything, as a result, I don't know what I'm doing. And I don't know who to prospect. You see, I've got to tighten things up as quickly as possible. Now, let me get to this third question here, okay? Third question. How come so many of my good prospects never wind up buying anything? Here's why. What you're doing is you're dancing with them. You're dancing with them and you're not pulling them through. You're not pulling them through fast enough. What you have is you have nothing more than a sewer pipe. See the picture in red? That's a sewer pipe. What I want to do is I want to have the one in blue. I want to have a water tap. You see, here's the whole thing. Now, you got to go through and you got to qualify. There's no ifs, ands, buts about that. But you want to make the qualification of your prospect as simple as possible. Now, what are some of the key critical aspects about qualifying a prospect? First of all, I've got to understand if they have a need or an outcome that I can help them with. You see, many times what happens is somebody who might look at your profile, they're unemployed. Or somebody who downloads something, they're bored. They're not a decision maker. They're bored. No, see, if I can't tee something up to them quickly that allows them to provide me with a need or an outcome that they're looking for, I get them off my list. I get them off my prospecting list. I put them into my marketing list. I'll put them into my marketing list. I've got thousands and thousands of people on my marketing list. I hate to say it, but most of you probably found me because you're on my marketing list. That's great. I love it. Thank you. Welcome. Love having you here. I want more people on my marketing list. But see, my marketing list is that wide funnel. That's not my prospecting funnel. That's not my prospecting funnel. My prospecting funnel is a very narrow funnel. It's a very narrow funnel. You see, my whole objective is I want to spend more time with fewer people. How do I get that? Okay, here's what I got to do. I got to make my selling process be as simple as possible. Let me give you an example. Remember that gentleman I told you about that I was talking to on the telephone when I was in the airport? I virtually closed the deal within 5 minutes because I make it simple for people to do business with me. Let's have a conversation, find out if there's a need, create a level of trust. Trust must come through in that phone call. Okay. See, this is one of the key elements left out. So many times what happens is we're speaking to prospects, but we're not creating that element of trust. I'll get to that in just a moment. And when I get to that element of trust, then I create a level of commitment, and commitment cuts both ways. Commitment cuts both ways. So, okay, how do I create trust? Trust in the prospecting process. The easiest way to create trust in the prospect is by listening. Listening. It's not listening to respond, but it's listening to understand. Critical difference. And the way you demonstrate this is by you take one comment that they share with you and you come back and you ask them a follow-up question on that. I get very serious, very focused on this. I want you to ask yourself with the last lead, with the last prospect, and this can be whether it be on the telephone or whether it be email, whether it be text, whatever. What is the question? What is the comment that you added onto what they shared with you? Here's the whole thing. I create trust with somebody when they know that they're listening to me. Yeah. And see, this is what it absolutely frustrates me when people don't listen. You don't create trust. Now, see, what happens is this. I'm asking you to create a level of trust with me. So I got to demonstrate trust with you, but then I got to create this level of commitment. Unless you are willing to agree to a next step, I can't say that you're a prospect. See, if all you're doing is shopping for information, if all you're doing is shopping for low price, you're not going to agree to a next step. See, so I want to create this level of trust and this level of commitment. See, so what I got to do is I want to take my prospecting process and say, how do I simplify? I want to throw out all these other steps in there. I really want to go from lead, qualifying the prospect, selling, closing. That's it. That's it. Now, some of you are saying, Mark, how do I get the leads? How do I get the leads? Okay, now, how do I get the leads? Starts off by, remember one of the first questions I asked was, take all your customers. You take all your customers that you have, your current customers, and you see who they are. And you simply work back upstream and then go after those same pools of players as to who they are. Say, Mark, well, how do I do that? Well, simple. I go upstream. I see who those people are. And then I go to, like, for instance, LinkedIn. And I'm going to go to LinkedIn and I might be connected to one or two of them. I hope you are. I hope you're connecting socially and professionally with your current customers because you want to keep the ongoing relationship. You want to keep that ongoing relationship. Now, what you do is you connect and then you see what groups they're, what groups are they? Who else are they connected with? Those are your leads. Now, do not reach out to people by way of social media to sell something. No, don't. It's called social. It's not called selling media. It's called social media. Okay. I'm going to get off my soapbox on that. But this is so critical. There is no shortage of leads out there when you start with your existing customers and work your way back up. Now, some of you might be saying, Mark, I'm brand new. I'm brand new in the business. Then take a piece of paper and write out a list of who do you think would be your best customer? Where do those people hang out? Where do those people reside? And work your way back upstream. There's a number of great databases that you can access, but best one out there is just called Google. Just start Googling. Yeah. My good friend Sam Richter wrote the book on, and believe me, he is a Google expert in terms of search. Check him out, Sam Richter. Yeah. Now, this whole piece comes down to it's keeping it simple. I was with a company recently, and they were asking me, they were looking at me for help. They said, Mark, we're not closing enough deals fast enough. And I said, yeah, because you have a process that is so complicated. You've got to simplify it. I want to be able to move. Speed sells. Now, here's the whole thing. This is what's very, and I want you to think about this for a moment, especially if you sell a service. If you sell a service, if you sell something where you create a relationship with customers, and even if you don't, still pay attention to this. Your process is part of the value proposition of what the customer is buying. Your selling process is part of the value proposition of what the customer buys. Now, think about this for a moment. When you have a very seamless and a very in tune selling process from lead to sale, the customer is going to view that, wow, this is great. This is how the company's going to work with me. In fact, it's interesting. If you're in the game, if you're in the business of having to sell where you're just converting, this is so critical. Because they're going to look at how you sell. What's the process that you use? What's the communication methods that you use? The questions you ask and so forth. What's the information you share? That level of trust, that level of commitment. And that's what they're going to use to say, wow, if they sell like this, this is going to be amazing because I can only imagine how they're going to work with us. I have seen that proven out time and time and time again. The value proposition you provide begins with the selling process you use. Now, what am I getting to? I'm getting to this whole premise of keeping it simple because I want a very narrow funnel. When I have a very narrow funnel, what I'm doing is I'm actually working with fewer prospects. Whoa, what did he just say? Yeah, I'm working with fewer prospects. Now, here's why I'm working with fewer prospects, because I want to spend more time with them. Now, let's back up and let's start at the top, okay? So you wrote down what are the outcomes that you provide. You wrote down who are the customers that you like serving. You see, now think about this. I can't magnify those. I can't really drill down on those unless I have more time to spend with you. See? Now, you might be saying, Mark, that flies in the face of this conversation that you had with this person where you closed a deal in 5 minutes sitting in an airport. No, it doesn't, because here's the whole thing. This customer had already created a level of trust with me because of the fact that they had jumped out on the web, seen my website. They had actually read my book. They had done all of that type of stuff. See, so there was a level of trust that was already committed. See, now, so some of you who don't have that ability, there may be it may not be a 5-minute phone call, maybe a 6-minute phone call. But if you allow you to come through in the prospecting process by listening, not to respond, but by listening to understand, then it's amazing. It's amazing what you will find yourself hearing, and you will be able to close that customer faster. See, here's the whole thing. Yes, there is a distinct process between prospecting, selling, and closing. There are distinct processes. But what I want you to do is I want you to have such a refined prospecting process, that it's a narrow funnel that I move right to the selling and the close very quickly. Now, remember I shared with you that I said I make calls. I do. I make calls. Now, I've got a very narrow process because I've done my homework before I call you. And again, this is where I really relied on Sam Richter a lot to help me create some systems and some processes. That's kind of a separate piece. Okay. I might do it. In fact, actually, I partner with Sam on some stuff. He's such a brilliant guy. I had to read. We are good friends. But anyway, that's a separate piece. I'll say that for later. Let's come back to this whole piece. What you want to be doing is trust, commitment. And the way we create trust is with the questions I ask. The commitment is the next step. Now, you say, Mark, can I do this in the lead generation process? Yes. One of the things that I love doing in the lead generation process, and this is whether it be by way of website, by way of LinkedIn, by way of email, by way of phone call, is by posing questions. Now, if you notice, if you followed me for a long time, you notice that I love to pose questions. Why? Because I want to get people thinking. This is one of the best ways with which to prospect. This is why when I say from a telephone prospecting standpoint, I don't sit there and say, hi, I'm Mark Hunter, the salesman. Oh, shut up. They don't care less. I come right out and I ask them a question. Because I want to engage them. But I'm listening not to respond. I'm listening to understand, you see. When I email people, I hit them with a question. When I do lead generation by way of mass tools on media, I ask questions. You see, what I do is I ask questions because I want to qualify you very quickly, because if you don't have the ability to answer that question, I don't want to waste my time with you. Now, I like you. If I happen to get you on the phone, I'm going to earn the right, the privilege, honor, and respect to be able to meet with you again. Maybe one day you will, but I can't waste my valuable time, because it comes back to this whole piece that the most valuable time I have is my prospecting time. Now, let me get into this really quick. I'm going to talk about time here in a bit with this last question here. How am I supposed to find the time to prospect with everything else I do? Okay, let me walk you through something. Now, I said up front this whole piece about your time. And I was with a company last week. I was with a sales team. We were doing a third quarter sales kickoff meeting. I love doing sales kickoff meetings. And this was one of the big issues they were facing. You know, this question was one of the big issues because they weren't closing enough sales. And so what was happening? And what we did was we simply said, wait a minute, hold it. And it's a concept I've used with a lot of other companies. I said, let's break the day into 5 90-minute segments. 5 90-minute segments. Now, here's one of the things that I found. Activities will expand to the amount of time we give them. You see, this is because what happens is we manage off a to-do list. And generally at the top of our to-do list are our existing accounts. And way at the bottom is prospecting. But see, what happens is when we're working off a to-do list, and bosses, I got to call you out on this. I've got to call you out on this. You are guilty of saying, hey, would you check on this with this account? Hey, would you check on this? Hey, would you check on this? Hey, would you check on this? And you allow other people in the company to no. Got to stop that. And you got to be asking more what's in your funnel. And more importantly, how rapidly is it moving through? Whole separate piece here. Because see, this is what happens. This is why I show that sewer pipe and that water tap pipe. Because what happens is people wind up getting stuff in their sewer pipe, but it doesn't move. It doesn't move because I don't have a commitment with a date and time associated with it. Time is my most valuable asset. When I ask you to make a commitment to me of following up with me or looking at me or something, no. I've got to set the time. I've got to drive. You have to drive the next steps. Do not allow your prospects to drive the next step. See, because what happens is then what little prospecting time you have gets sucked up with these mundane activities. So now back to this whole concept of 5 90-minute windows. Think about this. If I take 5 90-minute windows, that works out to basically 7.5 hours a day. Okay, very easy day. Top performers don't work 8 hours. Believe me, they work a lot longer than that. Let's just stay with 5 90-minute segments. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign 90-minute segments to key activities. You may say, I don't need to prospect every day. Fine. But you're going to assign one 90-minute segment 3 days a week or 2 days a week. or maybe even 1 day a week. You may say, hey, I'm just starting out. I've got to assign 3 90-minute segments. Now, I do not believe in putting them back to back. Don't put them back. You burn out. You might do 1 90-minute segment in the morning, 1 90-minute segment late in the afternoon. I like starting out the day with your prospecting segment. And when you're in your prospecting segment, you are focused. Well, one of the biggest problems, and I have seen this time and time again, the reason prospecting processes don't work, and I write about it in my book. Many times what happens is they fail because we just haven't given it enough time. Think about this for a moment. Compare this to a diet. You need to lose 20 pounds. So you give it a shot. But you really don't stick with your diet. You really don't stick with it. You're cheating all over the place. And you don't get the results. Think about that for a moment. You don't lose the 20 pounds. You actually wind up gaining 5 pounds. What? That didn't work. Diets suck. And that's what you think with regards to prospecting. You see, you only lose 20 pounds when you're disciplined in your activities, in your actions, and how you use your time. That's the only way you wind up losing the 20 pounds. You see, I'm amazed. I'm amazed at something. And I got something really cool I'm going to share with you here in just a bit, which is absolutely spot on. You're going to love what I'm going to share with you. It's gold, pure gold. This is the piece. It's all about being disciplined. So this is why I say to take the 90-minute segments. Now, here's one of the avenues that I want you to do. I want you to find a peer. I want you to find somebody. Maybe it's another salesperson in your company that started about the same time as you. Maybe it's somebody outside the company. But I want you to find a prospecting peer that's going to help hold you accountable. And you're going to bust their chops once or twice a week, and they're going to bust your chops. Yes. And I want you to be actively engaged doing that. It is amazing how this works. Because what I found is when I look at why my prospecting plan, how do I rebuild my prospecting process? It really starts with my time. See, too many people, what they do is they say my prospecting process doesn't work when they've never really have given it the time. See, I can't measure anything unless I've given it time. I got to be focused on it. Now, where does all this go? Where does all this take us? So what's now what? What's the action plan? See, this is where you've got to sit there and you've got to drill down. Now, I told you about a really cool thing. If you're in my coaching program, you're getting this, okay? If you're in my coaching program, you're getting this. But what I want you to do is I've given you some meat here, some things. But here's something I've got, and I'm only doing it once. That's it. I can only do it. If you remember, I did this a year ago. I offered a $99 program, and I can only do this once at this level, period. If you jump out to my website, thesaleshunter.com, go to any blog page, you're going to see up on the right-hand side this little picture of a funnel. Click it. $99. Here's what I am offering you. Here's what you're going to get. You're going to get 5 pieces. And you see those 2 things in red, 3 and 4, and actually 5 is in green. It just doesn't come up. Doesn't come up on the screen. It's absolutely huge. Now, these are absolutely cool because in number 3 and 4, I'm going to give you video content and a workbook that's going to take you step by step. I have never before offered this program before. We just literally got done building it. Okay. But I got to set up your frame of mind. So I've actually added 2 other pieces. I'm going to have a webinar on the 27th of July. You'll all be invited to. If you can't make it, you'll get into it free, but it's only for those who pay the $99 to get in the program. Okay. And you'll get access to that piece. Or I'm going to talk about how do you evaluate your plan. We go through a complete whole checklist of how you evaluate. Then we got another webinar on the 31st where we talk about the lifestyle. Remember how one of the things I talked about was the you up front? Yeah, you up front. Yeah. That's where I really dig in on the you. And then 3 and 4 is the meat. This is the meat. This is it, baby. This is pure gold content. If some of you were at Outbound this year, Remember that big conference? And it's coming back for next year. In fact, you're going to love, anyway, separate issue. That's absolutely amazing. But I shared just a little teeny little piece of what's in this, but that's what you get. Because here's the whole thing. Too many salespeople don't make it because they fail to prospect properly. And see, then that bonus piece, this is the thing that this is it. I will never offer this again because I can't. It takes too much time. It's a bonus Q&A session. This whole thing, 3, 4, and 5 is a $900 deal. But I'm giving it to you for $99. And the only reason I'm doing it for $99 is because it's the first time I've rolled it out. But after we get done with this baby, you're going to see it packaged up in a much bigger program. But I've got to get you into this. And I will never, ever offer the Q&A session again. So get that, because what I'm doing here, I see people are buying. I see people are jumping on this already. That's great. This offer's only out there for a week, but I got to get you to jump in. I got to get you to jump in now, because I may not even be able to keep it, because I'm a little bit petrified of this whole Q&A thing. But here's the whole thing. I'm doing this right now for a very simple reason. Every week I get emails from salespeople who say, Mark, I missed my quota. And I come back and I ask them, well, why'd you miss your quota? And the question I ask them is, how much prospecting did you do the previous quarter before? And it always comes up, there's only 2 answers I get. 1, I didn't spend enough time prospecting, or B, I don't think my prospecting process works. You're right. That's it. Now there's 100 components that comprise that. And that's what we're digging into in these sections. And that's why I've actually kind of broken it down that, the meat is building a prospecting plan and the downloadable workbook. That's the meat. But I set up the precursors with 2 sessions. They're going to be live just like this. Now I'll be recording them for you. Yeah, people are jumping on this right now. Great, jump on it. This is insane. Now here's the whole thing. If you're in my coaching program, do not buy this program. I'm giving it to you free. Some of you might be saying, hey, Mark, what is this coaching program? That's a separate program. Pop me an email. Just say, Mark, talk to me about coaching, and I'll give you a buzz on it, and I'll fill you in on it. That's really a cool program. That's a neat program. We really get very personalized. That's a separate piece. But for everyone else who's not in my coaching program, $99 gets you this. And it's one time. Yeah, I see people are jumping in. This is absolutely terrific. You see, here's the whole thing. Success does not come to you. You have to go to it. Now stop and ask yourself this question. What would happen if you blew past your quarterly number this quarter? What would happen if you blew past your half number? What would happen if you blew past your year number? Cool. Is that worth the $99? I think it is. I think it's worth the $99. I'd say it's worth it. Jump on. Some of you have got some questions. I see some emails popping through here. That's great. I'll respond to those emails here today. But I want you to ask yourself this question. Long game sales. What's your success long term? Is it worth the $99? Let's talk for just a second. What are we gonna drill down when I say the building? I will walk you through a whole series of questions, whole series of prospects, whole series of processes that have you questioning and have you building out. Why does your prospect want to do business with you? Where do I find the right prospects? How do I communicate with them? We walk you through all of those pieces in terms of building that process. It's pretty extensive, and you're going to get the workbook. It's 14 pages right now of just questions, and there's there's a little bit of white space, but not a whole lot. But believe me, I'm going to be giving you a lot more of that, because I'm even though we got it done, I'm still working on the workbook. Yeah. More people are jumping in. Grab this, grab the deal. Just go out to my website, go to any blog page. You can go to, thesaleshunter.com/blog/. That'll take you to a page. And you're going to see up in the upper right-hand corner, there's that little piece. Now, when you go in order, you're going to fill in your information. And then it says you got to check a little box inside the order box. Okay, inside, you got to check that little box inside. We have a note there, but it's just kind of a double safety check. And we do that because we don't want anybody. I never want to be accused of tricking people into buying something. So there's that little added piece that you got to click that little box inside the order conference. Anyway, you'll see it there. I bought it myself just hours ago, and it worked fine. But I want you to do that. Your success is something I take very dearly, very importantly. And one of the other reasons I make this available is because most of my work is with very big companies. And it's not often that I can really reach out. That's why I do what I do for people like you who are on this. Grab it. Those 5 pieces. Now, if you don't want to go there, here's the URL to the actual registration page. You can take a screenshot of that if you want. But anyway, that's the actual registration page. But I can't stress enough the importance. Yeah, more people are coming through. It's great. I can't stress the importance of this. I get. I was at a conference, a non-sales conference, and I had a person come up to me, and they say, "Mark, I just can't get my business off the ground." It was a small business conference. And it was interesting, as they shared with me what was going on, they almost began to cry. And it really hurt me. That's what this is for. This is going to help you. Whether or not you're that seasoned salesperson or that new salesperson, I can't stress this enough. Hey, we got to wrap this up here in just a moment. And again, if you're in my coaching program, do not buy, don't buy, stop, do not buy. You're getting it free. I've gotten a couple of emails here. Some people are asking about the coaching program. I'll follow up with you. In fact, I got a coaching call here in 15 minutes. I got to jump on, but I'll follow up with you, on that one. But that's cool. Hey, my name's Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter. You know where to. Are you following my videos on LinkedIn every day? Follow me on LinkedIn. Every morning, Monday through Friday, I post a new 10-second video, 6 a.m. Eastern time. I'm all over YouTube channel. I'm out there. You got to do that. But don't allow that to preclude you from doing this. $99. Now, I'm shutting this offer down. Just a few days. You're going to see the countdown clock on that. I've got to, because I can't, because the content is simply worth too much money. It's one time. We're rolling it out. That's it. I'll probably come back with something else, but it's not going to be nearly this lucrative. Okay. Hey, my name's Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter. This is and I've thoroughly enjoyed doing this session. Grab it now, would you? I really shouldn't ask you for this. It really is. This is a no-brainer. You probably spend more on Starbucks coffee in a month than you would on this. And this has an ROI that's going to be absolutely huge. Hey, my name's Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter. And I want to say thank you very much. Pop me an email. You got my email. If you have any questions, I'll get back to you. And keep connecting with me there. And hey, with that, I want to say great selling.